Welcome, Guardian Scholars. You have made it through the first 2 weeks and we're into week 3, so we're going to go to that week 3 module. And this video will be posted under the week 3 welcome and preview and sent in an email to you as well. So at the very top of the week, I posted an introduction to Grit by Angela Duckworth, since we're going to start reading the Grit book this week. And I think I also will post the directions to get onto the library website, so if you don't have your books yet from the bookstore, you can actually see the electronic version of Angela Duckworth's book Grit, so you don't need to get behind. The other thing that I have posted as sort of informational item is an introduction to the book club crew, and so those are just reading, nothing to turn in, just so that you know some stuff that's coming up. So I have them in your to-do list for Tuesday, but you can read them even before we meet on Monday. So I have, as always, the link posted. And what I wanted to let you know is I'm not going to be posting this in announcements and other things. I did that for the first 2 weeks just to kind of get you guys in, but you should be getting into the habit of just coming in here and using the links to get into the class on Monday at 10:30. So just go in there. If you go to the next item, it's the asynchronous alternative. I will have these things posted when they're available, so by sometime after the class. It says it's due for everyone, but it's really only due for people who don't make it to the live class meeting. So the big thing, this is the first really key assignment for the week, is we're going to start reading Grit by Angela Duckworth, but we're not starting with chapter 1. And you'll see in the introduction that I actually have a short video that sort of summarizes the whole book, as well as a video, a 6-minute video of Angela Duckworth explaining kind of the key ideas from the book as well. So we're reading selected chapters. So we'll be starting off with chapter 4. And I have these before you read questions. Remember, you don't need to turn these questions into me, but if you read them and kind of think through these things before you start, you will get so much more out of the chapter. And also you'll have a sense of how to break it up. So it is a 25-page chapter, and I would recommend that you break up the reading into 2 to 3 sections so that you can kind of take in more. Right, and just as we were learning about SQ4R, that you read, annotate, reflect and respond as you're reading. After you read, you're going to do the metacognitive reading log. So that's those 2 golden lines, 8-word summary, and a 100-word hot take. So I'm hoping by this point that you all know how to do it. And I have the blank form here so you can submit the assignment that way. All right, so moving on. Our weekly reflective journal is really going to tie in some stuff that Dr. Rios talks about in Street Life, some things that Angela Grit talks about in the chapter we're reading for Tuesday. But you don't have to have read Angela Duckworth to do this. This is really 15 minutes for you to write about your vision for the future, your top level goals. And you'll see the connection between both of the readings after you've done that. Now I have a support activity on essay structure, and while English 91 is the support class for English 1A, I really want to make sure that you understand things about essay structure. So while in a normal face-to-face class I would be doing this online, in person during the live class, I'm trying to keep our live classes shorter. So this would be something that lectures that I would give in class. And so I do have YouTube videos that I've made on introductions, body paragraphs, and concluding paragraphs. And the quiz, like most quizzes that I have in this class, you can take it multiple times. There's no time limit. You can take it 3 times. You can see and learn from the process of taking those quizzes. On Wednesday, we're going to have our 91 Zoom study room, which is really about preparing for the writing sprint and doing a reading workshop. So I'm going to ask you to bring your Grit book or have the electronic version open, and we're going to practice some more reading strategies together as a group, and maybe even start the metacognitive reading log if we have time. So again, the Zoom link is in there. I'm going to move on. Asynchronous Alternative I've already explained. Now, we're reading a second chapter from Grit. So these are longer chapters. This one is the first of section 2 or part 2 in her book, where she talks about how to become grittier and how to become more passionate or more perseverant. So she's going to talk about developing, deepening, and discovering our interests. So again, before you read, you want to scan and question. You don't need to turn that into me, but it will help you as you read. This one is a 21 page chapter, and so again, break it into 2 to 3 sections. So maybe read 10 pages at one point and 11 pages at another, or so on. And then annotate as you go and respond and think about it, and then do your metacognitive reading log. And moving on, that's our other main, that's the second of the 3 major activities this week. So I do have a support activity on thesis statements. This is my own take on thesis, so I know last week we did the Writing Center activity. This is a 14-minute video that I made on what makes a strong thesis statement, how to develop thesis statements. The quiz is not really a quiz. It's really more of a practice kind of pre-write for the writing sprint. So I'm really trying to make these activities really support what you're doing for 1A. So the writing sprint on Saturday is going to be writing an application essay for a college, if you're trying to enter a 4-year university. And so these are real college application questions. So I gave you 3 options. You can choose any of them. Don't do all 3, just pick one. And then I give you some suggestions on how to create a thesis statement. What I'd like you to do is tell me which option you're choosing and write a single sentence thesis statement that you would use, and then I can give you feedback before you do the timed writing. So I'm going to write one single thesis statement here, and I will give you feedback. And just as a reminder, if you click this photo button, you can actually upload a photo. So if you want to handwrite this and submit that, if that's easier for you and you're doing stuff on your phone especially, that's totally fine. Now this week at the Writing Center, it's actually one of several makeup extra credit weeks. So if you've gotten behind and you missed an earlier Writing Center activity, you can do that. Or you could do an extra credit one. And the one I recommend is organizing an academic essay. And so I think that's a great idea if you want to get kind of ahead a little bit and get some more credit. It's a great way to start. So if you have a week where you get really busy and you just can't do the Writing Center, then you already have some extra credit in there. The last and most important activity for the week is Writing Sprint 1, and this is, again, you're going to have a time limit of 3 hours. It might not take you that long, and if you want my help during it, remember I have my Friday drop-in hours, so if you do it Friday morning, you can drop in and ask me if you're getting confused. So I have how I'm going to grade it is here. It does need to be 500 words, 5 paragraphs. It should include a sense of what makes you unique because it's an application essay. And then, and I would copy and save this somewhere so that if you when you do apply, you kind of have an example of an application essay that you've already written. I have the same sprinting strategies that I shared with you the first week, and I have the study guide. And again, the study guide is it is exactly what I'm going to do. As soon as you take the quiz, you're going to choose from one of these options and write a personal essay as if you were applying for college. And then I have the drop-in Friday hours, and if you look here, it'll actually start the Zoom meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And so you can get in and talk to me and get help. All right. Welcome to week 3 and good luck.